Welcome to the Seattle Investors Club podcast with Julie Clark and Joe Bauer, where we share the nuts and bolts of real estate investing from our 20-plus years in the industry. Sit back, relax, listen, and immediately take action. Are you ready? Here we go.
Welcome to the Nuts and Bolts of Real Estate Investing podcast. My name is Joe Bauer, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Clark. Julie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Joseph. How are you doing? Where are you at?
Oh, I am in Taos, New Mexico, and also doing great. Have you been here?
I have not. I've been to Albuquerque, and what's the other one nearby Albuquerque, but not Taos. What's going on in Taos?
It's this cool little mountain town that's like a really artsy-fartsy place that has like these building codes that are, like Mexico standards, I would, kind of say. So everything looks cool, and then they actually get a lot of snow here. So from downtown Taos, we can drive about 20 minutes to a 13,000-foot ski hill.
Oh my, is that why you're there or what? What are you doing there? Just skiing or hiking or what?
Yep, we're here to ski. It's on the Icon Pass. So we have had several people tell us to come down here if they've got snow, and we were close in the vicinity. So we thought we'd come and check it out. And it's a cool little town.
So what you're saying is your life consists of either driving or snowboarding every day, driving to the next snowboard town or snowboarding, right? Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, that's the glamorous part of it. It actually consists of hanging out in coffee shops most of the time and then driving as fast as we can to the next place to hang out at another coffee shop. And then if there's snow, trying to ski as much as we can.
We'll have to do a separate podcast on the van life for the Seattle Investors Club. That will be fun. We got to put that on the books. Actually, why don't you put that on the books somewhere and we'll do it. That'd be cool. A little deep dive on the realities of all that. So are you guys still working out a bunch or how you doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting a lot of working out in, and we're, doing stuff with the dumbbells that we've got. We've got bands, a lot of body weight stuff for the Get Better project, and then snowboarding. If you snowboard a whole day, man, that'll knock you out. You know that.
I feel that. I love it. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, this is my transition because we got no dumbbells around here today, if you know what I mean. We got some smarty pants with us today. And not only that, we have a fellow bro master for Joe on the health and fitness today, which is our new friend, Viktor Rybachuk. Viktor, what's going down?
It's all great here.
Yeah? You're not like doing push-ups while you're talking to us with a mic on or anything, are you?
Oh man, if I was, I'd be late. That was this morning.
Good stuff. Well, as we kick off the podcast today, we might let you and Joe have a little banter on that while I sit in here and eat my pastries while you guys talk about the health. Although I will say, we'll jump into that a little bit with Viktor today, guys, on his background and some real kind of, life insights that we've kind of touched upon as we were getting started on the podcast today, talking to Viktor that I thought was insightful. So I wrote them down and he's now going to have to repeat them. But I want to introduce you guys to our new friend, Viktor. Viktor Rybachuk is a local wholesaler here in Washington State. Or maybe he'll tell us that he does business out of state as well. His companies are called iwillbuyhouse.com is his seller side of his business, and his buyer side is called purchasethisdeal.com. You can check out those websites to learn more about what Viktor's up to. And I highly encourage you to follow this guy. Super inspirational, big share. In fact, we'll just say some of you know Viktor already, and some of you don't. We have Viktor on the podcast with us today because we can all learn a lot from this guy. Why? Because he's willing to share the truth about the struggle of making it in the real estate business that we are all in here, as well as manage a full-time life with his loving family and including a new baby, right? 6 months old. Isn't that right, Viktor?
Correct. And counting.
Yeah.
6 months.
And counting?
Well, counting means he's getting
with
older.
Number 3 or in counting past?
Let's not put the cart before the horse.
Yes, I got you. Well, again, more about Viktor, guys, is that we respect his very big determination to make his life work the way he wants to, as well as his drive to be the best at what he can be. He's absolutely fearless. If you haven't seen Viktor on some of your social sites. He's absolutely fearless in sharing the truth about the ups and downs of his business and his life. And he leaves it all out there, which not many people do in our social world that we live in here. So we give him big props for that. And looking forward today, I know I am very much getting to know our new friend, Viktor Rybachuk, a little bit better. So let's do it, Viktor. Thanks for coming on today and taking a break out. I'm sure your insanely busy schedule.
Insanely busy is definitely correct. Yes, very, very busy.
Understatement. Well, we're going to learn all about that today. And we're all on a little bit of a hard stop because we're all so busy. So we're going to just go straight into it and kick it off, get to the good stuff. So Joseph, go ahead and kick us off.
Yeah, Viktor, first question is always to get to know people a little bit better. And we're excited to hear where you came from, all of the details in between, and then how that led you to the real estate business where you are today. So if there's anything you want to, let us know, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so I went to school to become a wholesaler. I took a degree at Washington State University called Wholesaling Mastery. No.
Right. I'm like, what?
No, my beginnings in real estate had nothing to do with real estate. I actually was a nurse at Seattle Children's Hospital for 7 years. Wait a minute.
We got back it up even further. We got to get to know you even deeper, brother.
Okay.
So, did you go to high school here, or, what got you interested originally in real estate, and back it up, how you ended up with your initial profession or two, and
sure.
From the beginning. That's what we love.
Well, my humble beginnings is that I immigrated to America when I was 6 years old. So I came from a terrific country you guys have heard so much about in the news called Ukraine. Been here for, since I was 6 years old, moved around a bunch of times. And, I come from very humble beginnings. I mean, I'm not afraid to say that I was on, Section 8 housing, on welfare. If any of you can remember back to the days of food stamps, literally food stamps, we were on those. So 5 brothers, 1 sister, and my dad was really the more entrepreneurial in our family. He had, his construction side of the business, and, me being young, I didn't know anything about that. But it always put a bug in my ear about like, hey, there's things to create. I always had this joke, and I thought at the time it was a joke to like, someday I want to start a business. But life kind of pulled me in a different direction. I saw an opportunity in healthcare where I liked it. So I pursued that, and I got my bachelor's in nursing from Washington State University. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
So after I graduated, I went to Seattle Children's Hospital, was there for, like I said, 7 years, and really enjoyed that. I mean, it's a great career. Nursing is such a terrific, rewarding profession. I have saved countless of lives. I'm not even kidding you. I've lost count on how many patients I have saved the lives directly because of my intervention. So it's, when you come home and your spouse is saying, I don't know if I made a difference today. I don't think my job is making a difference. And then you come home from a night of, oh my God, we just coded a patient today. We bagged them, we resuscitated them, we intubated them. They're okay now. So,
powerful stuff.
And so what kind of led me into real estate is just like this sense of like, I want to do more. And I kind of just did some researching. Nursing took me down a different pathway. I went to the CICU, worked with kids with, hearts that were defective and, hearts that were not working correctly from the very get-go when they were born. And that kind of led me to an opportunity like saying, okay, maybe I should consider going back to school. I tried to become a doctor, and I was like, oh my God, this is so dumb. I see these physicians working 68 hours a week, and that's considered a normal week. And then I was like, okay, after a year and a half, I stopped doing the prerequisites. My teachers thought I was a fool for doing. They're like, you are getting A's. What are you doing? Don't quit. You have to, you have to pursue this. But my heart just wasn't into it. So, and that kind of led me to thinking other avenues within nursing where I could be a leader. And then slowly but surely it trickled down to like, you know what? let's check out real estate. So one thing led to another. I started attending some meetup groups, and I was like, man, this is interesting. This is what it was just all about. And my intent was always to flip, but I saw an opportunity within wholesaling that you could get into it very quickly, not easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but very quickly without needing, mass amounts of cash on hand in order to buy a deal. So I went down that pathway and I did a deal. My wife was, the reasoning in our marriage. She's like, oh my God, you're spending all this money. Where's the return on investment? So I was like, honey, you got to have faith. You got to, believe in this. And, she is awesome. She's killing it at her job. And so finally, when I did my first deal, I was like, 13 grand. I made 13 grand on my first deal. And so she's like, oh, wow. Okay. I see the traction behind this. And at the time I met my business partner during my first deal, and he was doing the same thing I was, wholesaling, doing the same markets that I was doing. And we just kind of tag team into real estate and did this. And so people might question
so how long have you been wholesaling now?
Since 2014, I believe, or 13. I don't know. One of those 2 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. So let me ask you, I'm going to start jumping into the questions here since we have a hard stop today. So these days, what does it take to be a full-time wholesaler these days? Is there such thing as a part-time wholesaler? And what does, a typical day look like for you in regards to your business?
So I guess I'll just tackle on the first question. Is there such thing as a part-time wholesaler? Absolutely, there is. It all depends what you want to do. I think the majority of real estate, what they preach about wholesaling is, hey, do a couple of deals so you can graduate to your, to flipping deals. And from that, you can graduate to doing more flips. That's kind of how I was sold on it. But honestly, wholesaling is a completely business model on itself. So can you do it part-time? Absolutely. But I chose the full-time route where, I depend on this business to bring me, income for my family. So I want to say you can do both. It depends what you want to actually do.
Right. And how about, what does it look like on a typical day for you? You have a partner, right? Do you guys split duties, or how are you guys set up in your company?
So we're set up. So my business partner and I are both what you would call we call ourselves a home buying specialist. So acquisition managers, area managers, sales guys, that's different names are all synonymous to us. So we're the ones who actually put the deals under contract. Our team is about 8 or 9 strong. So we have a big VA presence. So we have folks in the Philippines, one in the Philippines, Jamaica, Colombia, and other parts of the world. To be honest, I don't remember all of them. But, I 100% believe in VAs for that kind of work. So what they do is they either do comps for us, they intake the calls to us. So they would be considered maybe junior sales. So after they do a soft touch, they pass the lead on to us. And that's where Alex and I kind of do our magic to get the deal under contract. So it is absolutely a funnel process. And don't get me wrong, wholesaling is nothing about flipping. Absolutely zero. It's all about sales and marketing. That's it. So you got to be great at marketing and you got to be great at sales.
So you guys are providing like your VAs with scripts and stuff like that, and you give them like a written system to follow on their part of the job before it gets to you guys?
Yes. Yeah. They grab basic information for us. They do have a script that they follow. And just being very clear with you, when you have a virtual assistant, you give up some of your control. And the way you get back that control is by maintaining the process, and that you do that by having scripts. So if you don't have a script, man, it's really hard to maintain quality.
Do you feel that because you have a VA reading off scripts, and I imagine once they do it enough, they're not sounding like they're on a script or anything. I imagine, do they have to have a certain, if you have VAs from other countries, they have to have good English, or how does that work for you guys? Do you feel like you lose a certain percentage of your deals losing VAs, but you're able to get in the volume because you can't handle it all yourselves to scale? What's the pros and cons of the VA thing?
Right. The pros and cons is with a virtual assistant, you give up some of the pros with versus an American worker. So with a VA, you're going to deal with some of the language barriers, some of the cultural nuances, and some of the dialect. They're not going to be able to be as effective, period, hands down. Whereas someone in the US has all those things. But the caveat is how much they cost. So, a VA is, 2 or 3 times cheaper than someone working from the US, period, especially in a market like Seattle. You're not going to get that kind of price at all for what you charge a VA. So then becomes your analysis, okay, what's the ROI? Should I hire somebody from a VA cheaper, but not as high quality? Or should I hire somebody in the States, higher quality, but more expensive? What's your ROI? And, for us, we've done the numbers. The ROI is VA. In our market, what we do, that's where it shows. Will that change later on? Probably.
Awesome. And do you guys work are you guys in Washington or other states as well?
We are very much into Washington and Oregon. That's where we do primary deals, but we are actually in the process of expanding to go national. So we have a deal right now in Pennsylvania and Florida. We're getting leads throughout the whole country. So we're looking to do virtual wholesaling through roughly about 30 to 35 states. Sweetness.
We'll do it. Once you roll that out and you've got some time under your belt, we'll have you back on and tell us how that's going. That'll be fun. So tell us about your back end system. What kind of CRM are you using, like InvestorFuse and CallRail with Carrot sites and VAs? And how are you managing your business in the back end? What are you using?
Yeah. So our primary way to manage leads is you have to have a CRM system. I don't care what it is. It could be a Google sheet. It could be on handwritten paper. The biggest thing is it needs to be consistent. So we started with the Google sheet. We made those formulas and they're so darn complicated. It took like 30 seconds to a minute to load that stinking thing. But now we've transitioned to InvestorFuse with Podio, not 2.0 or 3.0. The Podio based, and that really runs all of our leads. So, and you have to have that. If you're doing marketing of at least $1,500 a month, I'm sorry, our threshold is at least $3,000 a month of marketing. You have to have a CRM system that tracks it, because otherwise you're just wasting money. So that would be my thing for anybody listening is, once you get to that threshold, absolutely get a professional CRM system. If you're not spending that kind of money, get a Google Sheet. So we use that. We use RingCentral for our phone calls. We use that for also our team chat and meetings, which is very similar to Zoom. We do hire out for PPC and SEO, search engine optimization. So we have a team for that.
Are you guys using a Carrot site for your PPC stuff, or?
Yeah, we're using a Carrot site, but it's the concierge version of the website. So we've had our SEO guy, we had our ads guy, and now we're having Carrot provide concierge service for us to improve our website. So we've spent thousands and thousands of dollars trying to optimize our website, because that's where most of our leads come from.
Is coming off your Carrot site or your websites these days. How are you? So are you guys spending about $3,000 a month, or are you spending more?
We spend a whole lot more. Yeah. Our average spend.
Because that sounds not like a lot to me on the $3,000 a month, if you're having the success that you're having. So yeah, to get to the level where you're at, I think a couple months ago, I think you said you did like 13 deals in 2 months. What does it take? What's the spend, and what does it take to get, I guess that's like 6 deals or 7 deals a month. What's it take spend wise to do that? Assuming that you have the systems and the follow-up you need to have in place, the old FU, right? Do you know, like you have your metrics, like if you spend, 10 grand a month, you're going to get X amount of leads. Do you have metrics like that you can share? Or?
Sure. So first off, if you don't have those metrics, you're doing it wrong. Period. If you can't measure your return on investment or your performance, you're in a car and you're driving east. Where east travel goes to, you don't know, and that's really concerning. A lot of folks who start in real estate, they're like, "Oh, I want to do deals. I want to wholesale," but they don't know where they're going. They don't know how they're doing. And so having those numbers, how much money does it take to get one deal? What's your return from investment from that deal? What's your average profit per deal? What does your typical buyer look like? What's your seller avatar? Yeah, we definitely have that data. So going back to your question, I think you said, how much does it cost to get a deal? Is that right?
Well, I mean, I guess I'll say, how many leads do you have to generate a month to get 6 or 7 deals? It goes from leads to appointments, right? To contracts, right? How many leads do you have to generate a month? Like, does that make sense what I'm asking you?
Sure. Yeah. Leads to contract is what you're saying.
Leads to appointments to contracts. Yeah.
Sure.
Like, reverse engineer it. If you spend X amount of money, you're going to get X amount of leads. That leads to X amount of appointments. That leads to X amount of contracts. Right.
Sure. So I guess I'll break it down from a big funnel perspective to give you an idea, and we'll trickle down to a dollar amount. So our average cost for a deal is about $8.5 grand. So we have to spend about $8,500 to get one deal. Average. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower, but that's what its average is. So we know that our threshold that's what we have to spend so we can get a deal. The next thing is, how many appointments or how many leads does it take to get one deal? It's about 30 to 35. We really, excuse me, we really, really need to hone that in. I mean, we should be closing 20 to 1. So we really need to do better with our sales. And actually, we're going to be hiring a sales guy here shortly to help us with that.
Is it that, or is it a list? Is it a more defined list, or is it because yours are coming off online leads that you're not really, I guess you're targeting your PPC or whatever you're targeting, but is it a list issue or is it a conversion issue?
It's more of a conversion. Man, I don't know what's going on with my throat. It's more of a conversion issue. PPC leads are very much warmer than, mailing or other outbound marketing. We have what's called inbound marketing, right? They're coming to us. Facebook leads, PPC, they're coming to us. SEO, they're coming to us. So they're way more motivated than any other kind of lead. So inbound marketing is awesome.
Are you finding that PPC or Facebook is a better lead generation source for you, or is it split? What's the percentage split between the two, or do you focus more on one than the other?
We've been doing PPC for years now, like 4 or 5 years. It's been our bread and butter for sure. When I say SEO, search engine optimization, it has taken us 2.5 years to get to this point. So, with search engine optimization, it takes a long like leadway to get to number 1 on our page. I mean, we just got our results back from our guy. We're number 1 on tons of keywords. We're 100% one of the best buyers in the Seattle area, hands down. If you search "sell my house fast," we're the number 1. So we like those leads better. But I think to rank it, it's Google, Facebook, SEO.
That's interesting. That's because I know some other, big wholesalers in town or that are doing very well. And I also hear them and agree that like the PPC, the Google online stuff is doing best for them because most people just don't play there. They just don't, for whatever reason, were scared off, or they haven't really put a lot of focus on it. Maybe they think it's too competitive, or the threshold to entry is, they feel too high on the spend or something, are you guys spending, like you said, are you spending at least 10 grand a month on PPC?
through all our marketing channels, we're spending about 30 to 50 grand a month.
That is crazy, right?
Yeah.
But that's big boy status, guys. That is big boy status right there. That's what the biggest wholesalers across the country are spending. And Victor,
and Julie, to your point, why people don't get into PPC, man, don't get into it. Period. It's not that I'm trying to deter people from being competitive against me. It's just that, a cost per lead is about $300, whereas a cost per lead for mail marketing is about like 150, on average.
Do you guys do any direct mail marketing or cold calling?
We used to. Not anymore. For good reason too.
What's that? Why?
Mail marketing leads are not the type of lead that we want to work with. Our business isn't set up to work those leads, so we don't.
Right. So you're saying because they're much better leads, much warmer leads off online leads versus retail sellers calling you and so forth like that.
Yeah, that's outbound marketing. They are less motivated. So it takes a lot more time for them to sell to us. So our business is set up. The way we're set up is we are surgeons in what we do. Period. Do not come to us if you have a boo-boo, if you have a cold or a flu. You come to us because you have a broken leg, and that's the way we're set up. And if you don't have a broken leg, we're more than happy to refer you to someone who can help you with that. But that's where we excel, is being that surgeon.
Excellent. Awesome stuff. Hey guys, it's Julie here with a quick break from the show to discuss an opportunity some of you may have interest in, which is to work more closely with me. On almost a daily basis, I get calls from investors and brokers, both new and experienced, asking me for guidance or advice. I love helping you guys out, and it keeps me on my toes too. So with that said, I wanted to let you know that I have a private broker coaching community called the VIP Education Community. And the best part is that it's 100% free. That's right, it's free to join. So whether you're a traditional broker or a broker investor, my VIP education community offers personalized one-on-one coaching from not just me, but also from my experienced broker friends with expertise in all disciplines of real estate and real estate investing. We'll teach and share our modern marketing strategies, our tech and lead generation resources, plus teach you how to identify or offer up opportunities for yourself or for your clients using techniques such as seller financing, lease options, land entitlement deals, BRRRR investing, flipping, multifamily or commercial coaching, whatever you like. We've got it all covered for you. The future of real estate is changing fast, and to stay in the game, it's time to learn about all the options you can offer your buyer and seller clients, as well as, if you want, learn how to use those skills to grow your own real estate portfolio. If you'd like more details about joining my VIP education community, reach out to me at julie@seattleinvestorsclub.com or text me at 206-910-2985 or just send me a Facebook message. My new favorite phrase is community equals confidence. So let's navigate the future of real estate together. Now, back to the show. So when you were getting started out in wholesaling, were you missing a little bit, for when you were starting? Were you off on your ARV or your rehab estimates in the beginning? And what areas have you, honed in on to be able to provide accurate numbers to your buyers once you have stuff under contract? What was the hardest part for you guys to hone in on? Where were you missing and where have you honed in on that, and how'd you do it?
That's a really great question. What's the number one struggle? I think the number one struggle is actually not necessarily the numbers. It's actually getting the deal under contract. Seattle's such a competitive market. It's really tough to get a deal, period. It really, really is. If you don't get it, the next guy will. So I think that would probably be the number one challenge for us. But, doing the numbers, doing your rehab budget, doing your ARV, being honest, we're not flippers. We've done flipping. We've flipped houses before, but that's not number one criteria for us. So we have a tier scale of saying, okay, if it's a house like this, it has these kind of problems. If it's in this tier with this kind of price per square foot. But right. Once again, when we are trying to assign the deal, we're very explicit. We are not promising performance, you have to do your own due diligence. So we give them, a gauge of what it potentially could cost for renovations, but it's up to, each individual buyer. And here's another thing that I think is a huge golden nugget. A lot of wholesalers, they're like, this is the exit strategy. This is the only exit strategies. I think folks miss that opportunity because you have your developers, you have your fix and flip, you have your rentals, you have your buy and hold. And so there's so many ways to look at a deal. For us to try to package that deal in all of those types of exit strategies, I think would be just a waste of our time.
So when you put out your deals to, if people are on your buyers list, are you like, how do you put it out? Do you just put it out as a rehab, or do you provide numbers on analysis for, like a buy and hold or BRRRR or something like that? Or are you just like, here's the exit value for a flip? How do you?
Yeah. For our marketing pieces, we do either say a fix or flip, fix or flip or rental. That's really it. But that's kind of how we tailor, because that's what people are used to. But right. I guess what I was trying to say is, don't be limited by those two exit strategies. There's multiple of them.
Right. And so out of let's say every 10 deals you get, how many of those deals do you have to renegotiate because something's off?
Like anything else, it's a funnel process. It's an 80-20 principle. So not every deal you get under contract, you're going to close that deal. So I think our close ratio is improved. I think it's like 60 to 70%. And that's roughly the industry standard. Either because we missed something in the photos, the seller lied about, sellers do lie. They lied about how much money they owe. They lied about, something on title. So unfortunately, sometimes we, miss that. And there's definitely some times where we only find out afterwards that we didn't know, like floor was rotten. The beams in the foundation are shot, and we didn't know that. So that increases the renovation budget, which of course decreases our offer. Exactly.
And are you when you're calculating your numbers to put out to your buyers, are you underwriting your deals with hard money? Like what kind of, there's obviously people that can pay cash, use private money, hard money. You don't know who's out there that's going to buy it, even though maybe you know who your buyers are. Of course, I assume that you do. But what are you using when you're calculating numbers? Do you know what I mean, for the lending side or the debt side?
So we built out a calculator by hand to calculate all that. And our numbers are based on using hard money. Most of our buyers use hard money. So that's where we're going to do the analysis with hard money. It just makes no sense saying, hey, pay all cash and get this return, where right. 80% of the people are going to use hard money. So yeah, we definitely put those numbers in there.
So I always found the dirty little secret of wholesaling is that most wholesalers and great wholesalers like yourself have a handful of buyers or more, maybe, even call it 10 or however many more. You can have a huge giant buyers list, and you tell me, obviously the bigger buyers list you can have, the more buyers you have when you have properties that maybe are tight or, maybe even retail, right? So 2-part question is, do you feel like you sell to the same handful of buyers all the time because they can perform and, they know your deals, them, people like to do business with who they know and like? Or do you feel like the buyers of your deals you have 10 deals with 10 different buyers, or do you have 10 deals with 3 different buyers?
Yeah, that's such a good question, Julie. Wow, I really like it. The reason I like it so much is it goes into what's your niche in wholesaling. If you really want to be successful, find a niche and find a niche within that niche. That's how you be successful. So our niche is really Washington State, and it kind of sounds funny, but it's true. All right, Washington State. So because we have such a broad reach of deals in Yakima, Spokane, Tri-Cities, Bellingham, Portland, Ocean Shores, we have to kind of think about, buyers in those areas. So we don't always have repeat buyers because of that big reach. A lot of wholesalers say, hey, my backyard is, Tacoma, or my backyard is Kent.
I know what you mean, but are you selling your Tacoma deals to the same few people?
Exactly. Yeah. So when you get down to like saying like an area, then yeah, we do see repeat buyers for those.
I mean, it's your business, right? You're in business to make money. You're not there to provide leads to everybody in town. I always think that, right? Sometimes people think when you share and you coach and they forget you're in business a little bit, and that you're in business to make money, and you're going to do probably what's most efficient and easiest and most profitable for you, even though you might be sharing your coaching or sharing whatever else. It's like you said, if you have a couple great buyers in Tacoma, of course you might go to those first. You don't have to say whether you do this or not, because I don't want to put you on the spot, but I feel like what I would not like is that I don't like it if wholesalers blast out a deal when they know they've already got it sold. I feel that, good, if you're going to get your deal sold, I mean, that's just a way to maybe grow your buyers list or something when you've already got it sold. I'm not saying you do that. I'm just saying that's a pet peeve of mine that I feel like people, maybe not as much these days, but back in the day, they would absolutely do that. And I don't know if people are still doing that or not, but, you get what I'm saying?
I guess I've never heard of that before. I don't know. I don't see the benefit being able to blast it out when you already have a buyer lined up. That's kind of.
I don't either. I think it's for people, that maybe feel like they want to grab more people on their buyers list, but switching to buyers list. So do you try to get real estate agents on your buyer list in case you have deals that come up? Or those?
Woo-hoo! Yes.
Good one.
Love it. You have to know your buyer avatar, period. Just like your seller avatar. You have to know your buyer avatar. And we know the best buyers we work with have agents attached to them. So man, agents, talk to me. I love to connect with you. Yes, we love agents.
And how do you work your agents into your deals? Do they add on top, or you pay them out of your cut? Or is it all negotiable on every deal?
Yeah, most of the time it's on top. There are definitely deals that we built it into the price, and it all comes out of escrow. We never do like a side thing. It's always coming out of escrow.
Yeah, got you. So, you say you have a 60 to 70% close rate on the deals you get under contract, industry standard type of stuff. What happens to the other, 30, 40% of those deals? What happens to them? Where do they go? Do they just go dead somewhere? Or do you ever follow up to see what happens? Do they end up listing? Or what happens to the deals that you can't close on once you're under contract? Do you know? Do you have any idea?
We definitely do our fair share of what went wrong, that kind of thing. What we have noticed is that a lot of the times the seller actually ends up keeping the property, which is interesting. I find that that would shock me quite a bit. But other times the other reason is they'll either list the property or go with another investor. So if we can't, be able to close on this on it, we say, hey, why not fix it up? We'll put you in the contact with the right folks, and you could just fix it up. Have an agent do it, and you could do it that way. So we always try to be an avenue for adding value first. That's kind of our thing, is add value.
Boy, I could partner you up with some people that you could team up with and do something there. We should talk about that. I just thought about something there for you. Some of you may be thinking the same thing as hearing what he's talking about here, but we can talk about more about that offline, just because we're going to run out of time if we go too deep here. But so you say the hardest thing about being a wholesaler, you think, is just getting the deal, period, not generating the opportunity, which I would say most people think it is. But do you think it's actually closing on it? Or tell me if I'm wrong, how I interpreted that.
I think analysis paralysis is such a big barrier to doing anything in life, and it does definitely apply to wholesaling. It's a lot easier to learn about it, listen about it, read about it, than to cold call, get someone on the phone, meet them in person. Take an imperfect massive action. That's kind of my thing, is like, you don't have to have it figured out. Just go do it. You'll figure it out, as you're doing it. How do you learn how to drive a car? You don't learn to drive a car while it's parked. Drive the thing. So I think the biggest challenge for me in the beginning was getting off that, I know so much about real estate, but I don't actually practice it. So yeah, just getting out there, working the leads, talking to people, and, getting under contract, period.
And so what are your top 3 tips for new wholesalers or wholesalers that are stalled, right? You have, top 3 tips on what they should do to get started or restarted in today's wholesaling environment?
Yes. Take massive imperfect action, whatever that means to you, but do not stop doing it, period. Because if you are, a human being, you will learn that you're making mistakes along the way, and you will course correct to make sure that, you're better off. So my first thing is, if you're just starting out, do something, and that something is generate leads. So I do kind of coaching on the side, and I'm finding out a lot of folks that are just starting out, this is their typical starting point. I saw a house I was driving by, and I tried to contact them, and I didn't get a hold of anybody. But I want this house. I think it's going to be a great house. And they start to fantasize about how cool they would be to get this house under contract. What they don't understand is, if you're going to be driving for dollars, it takes about 60 to 70 to 100, leads, contacts to get one house under contract. So by having just only one contact, you're shooting in the dark. So just, take that massive action to try to, get that person on the phone, meet them in person. But really, honestly, if I were to redo this all over again, I'd probably say find somebody who's actually doing wholesaling, who's actually doing deals, and get coaching from them, period. Coaching works this way. Someone has figured it out. You don't have to figure it on your own. You either pay it with time or you pay it with money. If you have more money, get a coach. If you have more time, don't get a coach and do it yourself. But know that your results are going to be delayed. So that's my thing is, do you have more time or do you have more money?
Yeah. So lead generation takes money or it takes time, right? So a lot of people, I find, it feels like almost more people get started in wholesaling or even flipping, all the stuff that's out there these days with all these, everybody's doing it. They don't have money to get started. So if somebody has no money to get started, it's going to take longer, like you said, unless you're able to go give your time and trade to tag along. Maybe somebody like yourself needs help, right? And in exchange for learning and coaching, they're going to go, help you with something. Maybe they're going to go take photos for you or do whatever. I'm not talking about you in particular, but just in, the concept in general. So for people that don't have a lot of money, what exactly is it they should do to get started then? They should, like I said, drive for dollars or?
This is my view and only my view. There's so many ways to skin a cat, as they say, so many ways, but this is my, my take on it is, if you don't have a lot of money, know that you're going to have money.
Right.
So what I mean is, you're going to have to spend money to make money, period. It doesn't have to be a lot, but you're going to have to spend money. In my first deal, I spent $6,000 to get that deal for $13,000. It cost me money to get that deal. So if you literally don't have any money, man, you better be door knocking at least, 50 to 60 houses a day. That's like bare minimum. That's like C, right? Drive for dollars, cold call. But once again, driving for dollars, that's is going to cost you gas. If you're going to be, looking for, junker houses, driving for dollars and knocking on doors, you're going to have to skip trace those houses anyways. You're going to have to contact them. You're going to have to also mail them. If you're going to be cold calling, you're going to have money to generate a list of cold call. You're going to have a phone system built up to call those people. So it's not going to be absolutely free. It's going to be lower cost though. But you're going to have that hustler mentality for sure.
Right. Speaking of, who do you guys use for your skip tracing? Lead Sherpa or somebody like that?
We've used Lead Sherpa before. I can't remember the one that we use now. Gosh. Oh, sorry, Julie, I can't tell you. The reason is because they're market specific. and they only allow licenses per market. So I can't give you that out because it would be in direct competition with my company.
Gotcha. Okay, no worries. So how about, I want to say for you guys, one thing I'll add on top when you're getting started, people overlook. They think, oh, I got to go to all these networking events. I got to do the driving for dollars and the door knocking and the skip tracing and the whatever. Yes, you do if you want to make a living at this business. But what people forget and they overlook is they compartmentalize their real estate business. This is a lifestyle. Real estate is a lifestyle business, guys. So that means when you're out there as doing the playground duty at school, or you are at the baseball game with your kids, you are looking for an opportunity to get free leads with no competition. And all you got to do is open your mouth. How you doing, Bill? Oh, I'm doing great. Julie, how are you doing? I'm doing great. My real estate's going really well. By the way, if you know anybody that has any type of situation that they, want to have some options on how they can sell their house, because that's, you don't just have to call up a real estate agent and pay a commission these days. There's so many more ways. That's what I specialize in. I'm part of a big community of peer group support that, that's what we do. Just looking for, if you know anybody, relative, friend, neighbor, whatever, it's free information. And that way they're fully informed about what their options are today. You need to open your mouth, people, in your daily life outside of your real estate compartmentalized thinking. It is a lifestyle business. That's called free leads with no competition.
Yeah, for agents, you got to be talking day in and day out to your circle of influence.
Not even agents, wholesalers. I mean, you don't have to.
With wholesalers, what I would say is talk to your influence, but definitely talk to your avatar seller. So if you're talking to, say, someone who lives in, Medina in a $5,000 or $5 million house about selling their house for cash, you're probably barking up the wrong tree. Whereas if you're going to someone who is a blue collar worker, just finished, just has a trade, they're retiring from Boeing, or they're just, getting divorced, they're 50 years old, they're more likely going to sell a house to you or know somebody in that situation that can benefit from a wholesaler. So knowing your avatar, knowing who your client is so, so important.
Right. I agree. But the only caveat I'll say is you never know who people know, right? Just because as you're standing next to the guy on Mercer Island doesn't mean that his brother isn't down and out or something like that. You know what I mean? But let's keep going on here. All good stuff. Super awesome stuff today. So let's talk about some truths here real quick, because I know it's 10:30 right now and we got to wrap it up. So average profit, you got average revenue, but what about average profit per deal? What's the reality on that?
So the reality is in 2018, it was $15,000. In this year, or 2019, it's been $30,000. So it's been a crazy, awesome 2019.
Is that for net profit or revenue, wholesale fee?
Revenue. Yeah. It's not including marketing expenses.
So again, that's a great number, but it only matters what you end up putting in your pocket to feed your family and enjoy your life, right? So how about those numbers? What do those numbers look like? Are those more like half that, or how does that on average?
So I guess the ROI of the business is about 40 to 50%.
That's good. Okay. So these are the realistic numbers that you guys need to know. He's, very experienced here. So you just need to be in reality when you get started so you can reverse engineer for yourself how everything's going to work. If you guys haven't, I'm going to cut to the chase and say, if you guys are not following Viktor on social media, he shares a lot of information there that is insightful. And we thank you for that, to keeping it real for everybody, Viktor. You guys should all, follow Viktor. How do they do that? Would they just join Wari and you post some stuff there, or how do they, or jump on your Facebook page for your companies? How can people connect with you?
Yeah. So I've been very deliberate with limiting my social media exposure, because if it goes back to, I think, the book Gary Keller. Oh boy, it's the one thing. So I've been limiting my social media interaction so that I could focus on my one thing. But Facebook would probably be the best one. I'm also on Instagram, Viktor GLG, which stands for, oh my God, what does it stand for? Anyways, I went to a Tony Robbins conference. It stands for something good. It means gratitude, love, and giving. So GLG.
There you go. So, and if you were not in real estate, you could spend your time doing anything you wanted. What would that be?
Believe it or not, I'd probably create another company.
Right? Thrill of the chase.
I'm really excited about this iBuyer thing that's going on. I'm really, really excited about this. So I think that Zillow and OfferPad created they're the pioneers, but I think there's lots of opportunity for, to get into that space.
Well, when you get ready to get into that space, give me a call, because I have some information that I'd like to share with you in regards to that as well. We should go to lunch or talk shop about that, because I'm preparing and paying attention myself. So, cool, man. Well, do we need to wrap it up here? Or do you have a couple more minutes for us? I'll just check in with you.
No, unfortunately, I got to get going. I would love to hang out with you guys, but yeah, I got to go.
We're gonna have Viktor back on, guys, once he's starting to get national, and get some feedback from him on that. Also, if you guys have any wholesaling questions, and we don't want to bombard Viktor, but you can definitely, try and reach out to him, or you can certainly ask me those questions and I'll stay in touch with him as well. Or, at some point, maybe he'll offer some coaching if you're paying attention, I'm sure he'll announce that somewhere that you'll see on social media. But, other than that, last thing, what do you listen to or read? What kind of podcasts, or what is there something daily or weekly that you read that you can share with us?
I stopped listening to pretty much all podcasts, because it goes back to my mentality is, too much information. I'm only looking for very specific, very niche information. How do I grow my business? How do I go national? How do I scale a company? How do I hire right? How do I get more qualified leads? How do I become better in sales? So I'm very, very targeted to what I listen to. But I love Tony Robbins. I go to a ton of his events, so I definitely recommend listen to his material, because he is dead on. Change your state.
Awesome stuff. And last questions. Do you find most of your deals come from King, Snohomish, Pierce, or some Eastern Washington counties? Do you feel like
most deals are Pierce County?
Yeah. Okay. Right on. All right, guys, that's Viktor. And then Viktor, if you need to drop off, no worries. I'm going to wrap it up here with some admin information. I will tell you, all you guys, that, wholesaling is a serious business, and there's a lot of legalities to it. It isn't just that you go out and do it. You need to know what you're doing. And many of you heard me say this on other podcasts, or any time that you've come to one of our meetups. If you're interested in wholesaling, we have podcast number 63 that I have done with the famous Jeff Watson, who is pretty much the national authority on legal wholesaling. He's an attorney out of Ohio. He's also the attorney for Eddie Speed, who owns Note School, and John Cochran, the king of systems. They partner up on stuff. This guy is on the Seller Finance Coalition forefront, fighting for seller financing rights for investors in Washington, D.C. I think many of you have seen him when we've had him out here in Seattle for Seattle Investors Club events. But everybody who's interested in wholesaling for sure should be listening to podcast number 63, as well as this podcast with Viktor, which gives awesome information. And we've done some other wholesaling podcasts in the past, and we appreciate Viktor sharing such details with us today, and the truth about the numbers and how he rolls. And in addition to that, beyond that, I will remind you all of our weekly meetups. These are face-to-face, kind of smaller group meetups, anywhere from, I'll say, 8 to 20-ish, 20 people. Certain ones are growing bigger, but that's a good size, to get face-to-face. We love all the meetups in town, but my favorite is the face-to-face. It's a very, very powerful relationship building meetup format where we can really dive down, help each other, be peers, and solve each other's problems. That's with experienced people with new people, with everybody that's in between of all experience levels. It's amazing. It doesn't really matter what experience level you have. You learn from everybody at everybody's experience level. So don't kid yourself that you know everything. You'll be shocked to come to one of these events and learn how powerful it is on the information that gets shared in the masterminding and coaching, problem solving, advice sharing that goes on, plus the silliness. Let's not forget the silliness. So I hope you can join us every Tuesday in Burien at Angelo's, which is an Italian restaurant. And that is from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And every Thursday, we actually have 2 events on Thursday mornings. One of those is for you Pierce County people in Milton at the Milton Lodge off Highway 99 every single Thursday from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Walk in there and go upstairs. Additionally, on Thursday mornings, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we meet up in Redmond at the Family Pancake House off Redmond Way. And then we have some evening meetups from some of our friends out in Kitsap. I think it's in Silverdale at the Fuelers Cafe. And that is on a Monday night once a month. I can't remember which Monday, but I'll tell you where to find out. And also once a month in Burlington, we have a meetup at Bob's Burgers and Brews in Burlington, also once a month. And you can find out that information by going to Meetup on those last 2 at Meetup and look up Seattle Investors Club. Best way to stay informed is to join our Facebook page. Just look for Seattle Investors Club on Facebook, and we will then be able to keep you informed and reminded of that. But other than that, I'm actually headed down again, like I usually say, to one of our meetups today. It's a Tuesday. We record these every Tuesday. And so I will see some of you soon. And other than that, Joseph, where can they find the details about today's podcast?
Yeah, the podcast show notes are at seattleinvestorsclub.com/101. And if you guys enjoy this podcast and would like to stay up to date with everything that we're doing on the podcast, make sure that you hit subscribe wherever you are listening to the show. We are posted on pretty much every major podcast host that I can think of. And if you also like the podcast, we would love a review. We're stuck at 33 reviews right now on iTunes, and we want to get up to 100. So if you guys can help us out, let us know, do that, and we'll give you a shout out on the show.
Oh man, that would be awesome, guys. We could really use that boost. If you know why? Because we get awesome rock stars coming to us the more reviews we get as well. So we want to keep bringing this great information from great people that have super insight, and that would help us out. If you feel like we're helping you out, we would much appreciate that 5-star review. And other than that, Joe, stay safe. Wear your helmet. Wear your seatbelt. And I'll see you soon, brother. Peace out.
Right. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Seattle Investors Club podcast. If you have questions that you'd like to have answered on the show, shoot us an email at info@seattleiinvestorsclub.com. Now go out, take that action, and build that real estate business. Thanks for listening.